Hello, Bridge Builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at EatLunchandBoardGame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast, or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game, the first course today. And thank you for supporting the show. Welcome back to Eat Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins, and with me today is fellow lunchtime gamer Matt Miller. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing well, Adam. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's been a crazy day. Now we're prepping for 101 degree temperatures this weekend.
Ooh, mercy.
I don't know.
Must be a Florida thing.
I'm in St. Louis, so who knows?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in Florida. Yeah, I'm down here in Fort Knox, Kentucky, so.
It's always, you never know when it's going to hit 100, and once it does, it tends to kind of just stay there for a little while. So
I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, tell me about it. We like to get our heat with a lot of humidity with it too, so make sure you that way you sweat the second you open the door, your clothes stick to you. It's great.
Love it, love it.
So, how did you get into board gaming?
You know, I really wasn't into it my whole life. I got out. I was 25 years in the Army. I got out in 2014. I retired. And I'm sitting around for a few months, and a friend of mine that I grew up with, he's like, hey, you want to go to Gen Con with me? I'm like, what is a Gen Con? You know? And he told me, I'm like, I don't want to be around a bunch of sweaty 30-year-old, guys that live in their mama's basements. But I went, and I got to tell you, man, I had the time of my life, and I've been 5 more times. You know what I mean?
Nice. Yeah, I've never been to Gen Con. I've been to...
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I got a lot of... Well, I grew up outside Indianapolis, so I got a lot of friends and family in the area, and everybody always offers me a couch. It's not the couch that's the problem. It's trying to find the vacation days and the money to go.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how I got into it. I went that first year. I was a little apprehensive about it. I wasn't really a gamer. But I got to tell you, the crowd, the type of people, they really are some of the most welcoming people I've honestly been involved with, so yeah. It was really a good time. And I was hooked from that day on. I've been an addict, man. I mean,
yeah,
I'm putting my collection.
Yeah. That's the problem. Once you start, it's like, what is it? Was it not Pops? What was it? Pringles? Once you pop, you can't stop.
Oh yeah. You can't stop with just one or something like that.
Yeah. Bet you can't eat just one. That's what it was. Yeah. So what is your current favorite game, the game currently sitting out on your table?
This War of Mine is my current favorite one right now. Yeah. So, of course, I'm a completionist. When I buy one game, I have to go out and buy all of the I got to buy all the Etsy items, all the expansions. I got to go on eBay and see what they have, what's been made, But I like it. It's my favorite right now. So, of course, with this pandemic going on, about every game I buy, it has to be one player capable, So you have to do it soloable.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Now, this one might love it. It's really good.
Yeah. Well, I hear you about being a completionist. I've got one of my favorite games is Carcassonne, and there's a lot of stuff that was only available in Europe. And lucky me, I found a website out of Germany that has all of it. So, yeah, I can't wait.
Funny.
So you responded to a Facebook post that I made on the Board Game Geek thread asking about people that board game at lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you said not only that you do a lot, and you have a 2-year running D&D campaign.
Mm-hmm. We do. Yep. We started off as a Ravenloft campaign, and it just kind of spiraled after that. It's kind of our go-to game. There's actually, I work night shift at a call center. Okay. I will say where because, for obvious reasons. But it's 10 at night till about 7 in the morning, and we don't get many calls at night. So, but everybody there, including my supervisor, games, and we play every night, And we're talking big games like Gloomhaven. We ain't talking about Solitaire, or Farkle. Yeah. We're talking Gloomhaven, Dungeons and Dragons. Right now, the other night we played through a few episodes of the Mansions of Madness, which was really cool.
Nice.
But yeah, about 8.5 hours a day, I get to play games and get paid for it. So
there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, that's awesome.
So one of my two favorite board game questions to ask is, how do you pronounce the Settlers of
Catan?
Oh man, see, I'm going to start. I decided I'm working on a website right now, and I told my wife that I'm going to I'm making a pie chart that's going to be Catan versus Catan, but I'm just going to list it as the word, so you don't really know which one's which. You're going to have to listen to the podcast to see who said what. It's starting to become more 50-50.
I was hoping I'd get that one right, man. I didn't I just wanted to go with it. You know what I'm saying? I failed that one. So.
And my other favorite question to ask lately is, when you play a game with color options, is there a certain color you have to play as?
I always try to play black. I don't know why, I guess I like the covert color. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's something about bright colors that just bother me, so yeah, I like my black or red. Usually my two favorite go-to colors if I'm playing a game. I got to be one of those two colors, or it's just not as fun.
So you're in an interesting position, being able to kind of play your whole shift. But if you only had 60 minutes, what's your go-to 1 hour game?
Oh man, my go-to 1 hour game. If I had 1 hour to play something, it would probably be, right now, we're learning how to play Scythe, Skith. I don't know how you even pronounce it. But we're learning that one right now. Yeah, we're learning that one right now. That's not a 1 hour game, but
it's about 90 minutes. If you got a bunch of people that know how to play, you can usually clear it in about 90 minutes.
Yeah, we're learning how to play that right now. We don't have any regular games because I've probably got 300. If you look at my collection, it looks like I've been collecting for 50 years. I buy everything. You know what I'm saying? So we're just playing through everything. We'll play one and we don't see it again. We go through the box and we go to something else. So
yeah, they call that the grazer. Play a lot of games. Play a lot of games a couple times each instead of playing.
Yeah. So
what about a 30-minute game?
Half hour. 30-minute game. We love Red Dragon Inn. Have you heard of that one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's our. If there's a 30-minute game, probably Red Dragon Inn. If we got 30 minutes to kill, something's going on, we always pull out the Red Dragon. We keep it in a drawer under a table at work. You know what I'm saying?
I get that.
Yep.
At my old job, we were joking that there are so many board games in our office that when I had to switch office cubes, and I filled up the entire roller cart with just board games, because every time I kept opening drawers and cabinets, there were more games.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't think when they gave me this office with this drawer capacity, they expect me to fill it with board games,
Right.
So we had tons of games. We always kept, 30-minute games on hand, 45-minute games on hand. And if we wanted to play like Scythe or something, we would announce it and try to do it when we knew one of the bosses was going to be out of town. So a hidden gem or a guilty pleasure game, a game that most people probably don't know. But we've had some doozies on this show, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll tell you, I kickstarted, I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, but it's a Story Master's Tales. I can't remember the guy's name that made the game. It's a card game, but it's Story Master's Tales. One is, it's a Lovecraft theme. I think it's Lovecraft Hotel is the name of one of them. And I love Lovecraft. I kickstarted that and I was hooked, so, and he's done a couple more since then. But that's the one that I can pull out, at work, and I'm sitting there playing it for about, I can play it for 5 minutes or 5 hours, So, of course, it's only a one-player game, so. But that's my guilty pleasure right there, man.
There you go.
This is what I always keep with me. Have you ever heard of Fabled Lands?
I don't think I have.
It's kind of like a choose your own adventure story for grown-ups. So I keep that in my laptop bag. That's what I do when I'm on the bus going someplace or I'm traveling for work. I pull this out and I, do some cave dwelling. But that's me. So that's my guilty little pleasures right there.
That's actually really cool. I'm going to look into that book for sure, because that sounds like a blast. I don't travel I don't think I'm going to be traveling as much with my new position as I do with my old, but you never know. And I find myself traveling, I want to be able to, keep my mind active, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So you just said that you are a Kickstarter backer. Do you back a lot on Kickstarter?
I looked at that tonight. I have 99 items that I have backed so far. I actually have 16 active right now. So, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Now, now by active, like they're currently still funding, or they funded and you haven't received them yet.
funded and haven't received. Well, both. I funded and some of them haven't ended yet. Some have ended already. But all of them, I've paid for. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
got
they've.
three. Yeah, I've got three that are still running, and I don't even want to look at how many I haven't received yet.
Yeah, it's kind of you look at that. Some of them will last a few years. I had one that I had backed. It was Dark Souls, and I was an all-in pledge for Dark Souls. And I tell you what, I forgot about it. It was like a $300-400 investment, and I kind of just counted it off. I'm like, well, I forgot about it. And then one day I get this huge box, and I'm like, oh man, gold. And then the game ended up. I'm sorry, the game wasn't that great. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that happens.
It does. Sort of our house rules, but yeah, it's just a. But it was a good surprise.
Yeah, I did that with the game. I went all in, and it was it was an expensive investment, and
yes.
and the game was kind of lackluster, and I was like,
Mhm.
man. But luckily, because I did the all in, the resale value of that all in pledge on eBay was decent.
Sometimes that'll save you. Absolutely, yeah. Where you can sell a few of the Kickstarter items to make up for some of the price you spent. Yeah,
Yeah, and I lucked out on that one.
that's good.
But yeah, yeah. I try to curb my spending, but back to that, like I was joking with one of my other buddies that backs a lot on Kickstarter that I get an email saying your package is shipped and here's a tracking number, and I'm like, I have no idea what this number is, but something's coming to the house.
Yes,
so
sir. Yep.
And then my wife was just telling me tonight, she's like, you've been getting games in the mail every week. And I'm like, well, some of it is Kickstarters that have been like severely delayed.
Right, exactly.
Like I got one yesterday that was due in like November and it just showed up. And I'm like, I try to space them out so they don't all hit at once, but
Sure.
Well,
how Kickstarter is. I mean, it just depends on the creator and what they're able to do. How fast they can get the stuff done. They rarely hit a deadline. So.
Oh, I know. My Kickstarter was a mess.
Yeah.
We ran mine, and my partner and I ran ours, and it was not on time. Some of it was bad business making. Like we partnered with bad people,
right?
And then some of it was, we had to go to China, and then we had to wait, and then, we thought we could do a turnaround in a couple months. Turns out it was almost a year.
Wow.
We thought we could do it in a couple months, but once we had to, cut ties and find a new place, like it did slow us down. But we got the project out to everybody, and we were happy with the product that finally hit the market. So, but it was definitely, like you said, you don't know.
I can't imagine. I bet there's a lot of lessons learned there. So,
I wrote a book. I'm actually writing a book about it.
Really? No kidding. I might want to see that because I've been thinking about it, and it's hard to find information online about people's experiences as creators on Kickstarter. I can't find a lot about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that people want to know. You know what I'm saying? That there's probably a lot of people that want to do it, but like me, they're afraid to start.
Yeah, and that's what kind of happened with us is we read a lot. We thought if in our defense, if all the people we partnered with along the way were able to perform the way that they said they could and we intended them to,
right,
we would have hit our deadline. But once we had to cut ties, and because the guy was falling behind and on the production, and then the quality started to go, we had to just sever the ties and move on. Then it was like, uh-oh, and then we had to go to China, which wasn't a bad thing. The quality out there is just phenomenal, and but that took time because then we had to get our artists back, and resituate all the drawings into their format so that they could use. And then they had to send over the prototypes that we had to then sign off on.
Right.
And then they ran the whole. And it was like, okay, you're in the queue. It'll be done this week. And we're like, you're gonna run all 600 copies this week. They're like, oh, that's like a couple hours. And it was like,
wow. Did they
it's done. Oh yeah,
really? No kidding. Wow.
yeah. But it's so funny because there's only so many boats leaving China to the U.S. and so we had to wait on the next boat that had space, and then this stuff you don't even think about, and
sure,
thank goodness we weren't trying to use the Suez Canal a couple months ago, right?
Right. You'd still be waiting. Yep. Mercy.
But it was fun, and it was a good experience. We learned a lot, but we're gearing up for a couple more Kickstarters yet this year, so that'll be exciting for us because hopefully, knock on wood,
that's probably what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Luck, man. I do.
I appreciate it. So, board gaming at work. I love it. I think everybody should do it. I know people on the internet have nothing better to do but troll other people. So all these people responded to my question, which I thought was very innocent and straightforward, and a lot of great responses. And by great, I mean terrible. But anyway, the reason why I really like it, especially where I started doing it at my last job, is we were very compartmentalized.
Right.
So my division was small to begin with, and then we didn't know what everybody else did. We didn't really even know anybody else. And then we started board gaming, and then somebody else was like, poked their head in. They're like, "Hey, are you playing a board game?" And I'm like,
right, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they're like, "Can I play?" And we're like, "Absolutely." And so the next thing you know, it started tearing down walls and breaking down the silos.
Absolutely. I've met people I would never have met otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Made some great friends. It's really been. And I tell you what, for me as a veteran, and I don't want to get into this, of course, as a veteran, I spent 8 years of my career, over in the Far East. Transition's kind of hard when you get out of the service. I mean, it is. You kind of lose yourself. But anyways, all that aside, the gaming community was a huge help. I'm telling you, you hear about things like that, but I'm telling you, the people are wonderful for the most part. We have a game store here. It's called Hard Knocks Games. They're here next to Fort Knox, and they do a great. I mean, they have so many events, free events. Great people run it. Good friends of mine, and I tell you, if it wasn't for the gaming community, I wouldn't be the happy person I am right now. Seriously. It's awesome. It has meant a lot to me, and I tell you, I support the gaming community 100%. God knows I spend a lot of money down there. I could buy things on Amazon for I could buy this game for $20. But I'd rather spend $40. You know what I'm saying, at the game store. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I get it. I don't buy a lot of mine online either.
Yeah,
I really don't.
With the local places. So,
well, what's killing me lately is this podcast. And reading these books I've been reading, and they mention these games that are like, from the 80s and the 90s, and I'm like, I want that game. And so I find myself, exactly. I find myself like scouring eBay, like, come on, is it, I'm reading this one and it's like missing a few pieces. I'm like, I can't be missing pieces. I don't know what the game is. Does that piece matter? And I was looking at one game and he's like, missing just the dice. And I'm like, are they just regular dice? Because if they're just regular polyhedral dice, I've got a whole container of those.
Right.
But if they're special dice, like one of my son's favorite games is Formula D, the racing game.
Okay, I've seen that. Yes, I know that game.
So like you shift gears to roll bigger dice that have higher numbers, but like the D4 isn't 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 1, 1, 1, 2.
Right.
So they're standard polyhedral, but they aren't standard number.
Right.
And so, like, I was asking the guy, I'm like, I don't know this. I want this game because I read about it, because this is all I do is read about board games, play board games, listen to podcasts about board games, tell my wife about board games so she tells me to go away.
Right.
That's why I think she loves my podcast, because I can just kind of go talk to board games, to people that want to hear about board games.
Get it out of your system.
And, but like this guy, I'm like, I read about it in this book, and I don't know if they're just regular D8s and D12s, man, I'll take your copy if it's missing dice.
Right.
So, but otherwise I do. I try to go spend it at the local game shop. I find it just, try to support them as best I can.
Absolutely. With this pandemic, it hit them hard. They were
Yeah.
struggling to keep their doors open, because they couldn't hold any functions, and they couldn't let people
Yep.
in the store. I know different states had different rules, but Kentucky, they couldn't even have people in their doors. So you'd order it online and pick it up at the front door. So, we try to keep them. We
Yeah.
try to keep them in business.
There's nothing better than curbside delivery of a board game.
It was awesome. But
They rolled out the window. Just toss it in, man. Just toss it in.
exactly. Right.
Right out of like a mobster film, Just throw the board game in. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Take the game, leave the dice. But yeah, we just picked, my game shop did a lot of the curbside delivery, and I would stop by and pick up my comics and my board games, but they also supported me when I ran my Kickstarter. They backed me at the retailer level, and
Really?
they were helpful and stuff. So it's trying to be mutual,
Sure. It's a great community, man. Like I said, I'm glad to be a part of it. It makes me happy. You know what I'm saying? Every day, it's it's great. Like you said, it's just meet people I would never have met. A lot of friends. I think all my friends now are gamers. So.
I mean, if they're not a gamer, why even have them around?
Exactly, right? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing to talk about.
Oh, I don't even know who you are anymore. Get out of here.
But it's great. It's great. I know one thing I really enjoy is have you heard of Hearst Arts Molds?
No.
It's something I found at Gen Con, and again, I talk about that because there's a guy, Mike Smith. He leads a thing called Niceville Games down in Florida, and that's why I thought you were from Florida. I'm sorry, I was reading my notes. I thought, never mind. And he's in Florida, and he runs a game store for kids. Free Dungeons and Dragons. And he teaches them how to play, and he's got 30 to 50 people. And I'm always making terrain stuff for them. That's something that I do. I like it, and got kids out there that have nowhere to go, and they go play Dungeons and Dragons. So it's a pretty cool thing. But like I said, what community does stuff like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Games
No, it's a great
wonderful.
community.
So I love it. I absolutely love being a part of it. So.
No, it's great, and I'm glad that you responded, and we got a chance to talk because, like I said, so many people, a lot of the responses were like, "Oh, I wish I had a 1 hour lunch." I mean, did you listen to my podcast?
Right.
I mean, there's 30-minute games. That's like part of my podcast is,
Sure.
there's 30-minute games out there. There's shorter games too. Like, like when we first started and we were trying to kind of expand out, we started getting some of these games like Coup and Love Letter where you can just like play around.
Right.
You don't need to play till somebody has 3 hearts or whatever for Love Letter. You can play just one round and then, well, hey guys, I go back to my desk, and
Sure.
And so on. And Coup was another one where, we'd play all the way down to somebody won. And what's that take? Like 10 minutes. And so then, okay, I'm going to leave you. Oh, you come on in, sit down, but we'll play a game of Coup. So, there was that and the whole, I wish my boss didn't care. Well, I can't help you with.
Sure.
But,
Unfortunately, my boss plays with us. You know what I'm saying? So we're good to go. We got him by the short and curlies. You know what I'm saying? Don't tell him us. But no, it's good. It's good. The last 2 Gen Cons, we've all gone together. Our whole work group's gone together. So it's a good group. I'm never quitting.
Awesome.
I'm never quitting.
No, absolutely. Well, we started a D&D while over the pandemic, and so we've been playing a campaign via the website Roll20, and that has allowed us to play a Dungeons and Dragons. So our dungeon master, he's done a great job getting in there ahead of us, and he builds the maps and everything on the computer, and then we click around and we play Dungeons and Dragons at lunch. I'm in St. Louis at one company. 2 of the other people are in a different city, right by St. Louis. The third person, she's out in Kansas City. She started at our company, but then took a transfer, or her husband took a transfer. So, but that company has an office in Kansas City, so she still plays with us in Kansas City. The other guy, his wife, took a job in Indianapolis, but because of the pandemic and everybody working from home, they're like, well, I guess it doesn't really matter if you work from Indianapolis. Just do your job.
Right.
So he's in Indy working. I'm in a different company. So like none of us are together, and we're still playing our
That's
campaign.
awesome. You gotta love the technology. Yeah, you gotta love it.
Yeah, technology is allowing us to stay together and have fun.
Well, I mean, I could talk all day about everything, man. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. I knew it was going to be fun. You know, I like talking about this stuff. It's a passion. It definitely isn't. It's you know, I told the wife. I said, you know, you're lucky I'm not the kind of guy that drinks. She's like, another game? I said, well, at least I'm not here buying beer and going to the clubs. When in reality, if I was spending on alcohol what I'm spending on games, I would have died alcohol poisoning a long time ago. I'm telling you. I tell you, I spend a lot of money on games, but you know,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Like I said, it's fun. It's I wish I had been into it before, you know, before now, but hey, better late than never. I love it. I'll never stop. And yeah, and I appreciate the chance for you know you gave me to you know come on here and talk about this. It really means a lot. So,
do you have any kids?
I have 3 grown kids. Yeah, they're 23, 27, and 30.
So they play with you?
Well, they live other places. They do when they're here. Yeah, they do when they're here, but they live too far away. I raised them. We played their whole lives. You know, little games, kids games, stuff like that. But the bigger games, yeah, they play when they come around. So
that's always cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my granddaughter into some stuff right now. She just turned 4, so I don't think D&D's quite the lane I'm going to go yet. You know, but
you got to look at the. There's an RPG by John Wick called Cat.
Called what?
Cat. C-A-T. Cat.
Okay.
And you play as a cat.
You said John Wick.
John Wick, like just like the Keanu Reeves movie.
Gotcha.
You can pick it up off of drivethrurpg.com.
Yeah.
It's like $5, and you play as a cat. It's a hoot. You get like jumping skills, and the premise is that the cat can see things that you can't. So like how your cats always stare off into the corner, it's because they're keeping this bad thing away from you.
Really?
And so so you're playing as a cat trying to protect your human from all the bad things around him.
I want to check it out. Matter of fact, when I get off here with you, I'm going to go look that up. I might just get that. So that's good for small kids.
I mean, my son likes it. He's 9, but you know, he just turned 9.
I'm gonna check it out.
I mean, definitely, it's something you can you can simplify it for her, and it's just fun. My D&D group, we're getting close to the end of our campaign, and we were talking about what to do next, and I'm like, ooh, cat. We should play cat. And one of my fellow Dungeoneers, he was like, I'm sorry, did you say cat? And I said, yeah. And so he looks up, he goes, yeah, I'm in. Yeah, we're totally doing this.
That's awesome.
He's like, yeah, wait, we're playing as cats? I'm in. We're good. We're doing this one.
I've got to try it.
Yeah, it's a hoot. But be careful in Drive-Thru RPG. That's another incredible money suck right there.
Well, I'm in that. I've been buying from them for a while. They'll nickel and dime you to death, man. You go in there, $3, $5, $4, PDF. You know, it's like, Lord have mercy. I just spent $200.
Yeah, that's what happens when I go to P&P Arcade. I'm like, I want to go get this. It's on sale for $3, and this one's on sale for $2.
Yep.
This one's on sale.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, well, if I'm going to buy it, I might as well buy it and all the expansions.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So I bought Avignon, and then wound up with like its second pack and the indulgence packs, and I'm like, all of a sudden, I spent like $40, and I'm like, $40, and then I'm like, I gotta print all these off. I gotta what was I thinking? But then I'm like, it was only $1 times 40, but
times paper times I got my laminating and my binding machine right here on the shelf behind me. I do the same thing. I got binded books over here on my shelf for Drive-Thru RPG stuff. Probably 200 books sitting right there. Lord have mercy. If there's ever a reason that we have to stay in our house and we can never leave, and if I can live to be 500 years old, I might play through everything I've got. I might play through everything I've got. So
I told my son, oh man, it's been probably 2 months ago that I'm not going to buy another game until we get through the Shelf of Shame, because I started off. There's always been like the onesie twosie games I haven't played.
Right.
but now I think we're up to like 16. And I told
feel you, man.
And I told him when we were at like 8, and I'm like, well, apparently I'm a liar. So
Right.
I'm
Every
like,
time
well,
I
that,
see that, the game store has a sale. I mean, they have this half off table. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take it. And like
is
you
it any
said,
good? You know what? It's $5. I don't care.
yeah, exactly. But then all the expansions are $50 a piece. You know, it's like, well,
Yeah.
okay, that's how it is.
Shouldn't probably be allowed to read any more books about.
I do. I feel you, man. Yeah, drive through RPG. I lay there in bed at night, like, okay, you know, $5, $2, $3. And of course, my credit card's already associated with my account. I'm like, buy it. You know, wife's like, what was this $190 charge for? I'm like, $190? What?
Yeah, you're like, what?
There's
No
shipping charge. It's all PDF. I'm like you said, I got to print all this stuff off. I wonder if they have any expansions. Huh.
and then the next thing, you're looking for the expansions.
Yep.
Oh man.
Yep,
But yeah, I'm telling you, that's one of my favorites. Is you just start digging into Drive Through RPG, and they've got quite the selection of old RPGs, man.
There was a game, the first game I ever played. It got me into video game. It was called Legacy of the Ancients. It was an old game for the Commodore 64. I got it when it first came out. Yeah, this was in like '84.
I had a Commodore 64.
And, you know, I bought the Commodore 64 at Toys R Us, and there was this game called Legacy of the Ancients. I played through it, loved gaming. You know, I love the video game genre ever since. And I'm on Drive Through RPG, and I see, holy cow, they've got an RPG for this. You know, I couldn't believe it. Wow. So, of course, I've got that. We haven't played that yet. But I'm like, they got everything on there. Like you said, such a wide variety, you know, but it amazes me to this day that as much as there is out there, people keep finding new ways to do things. You know what I'm saying? And it's not all been done yet. And
right.
It is. It's fun to see what they're going to come out with.
Well, I mean, yeah, just Scythe has a whole new mechanic with, you know, moving, you know, picking your action every turn, and you can't use the same action twice in a row. And that really puts a lot of whole spin on it. And then the way you've got like the army forces and all that stuff, and you're trying to, you know, move up and down those boards. And
yeah, if you were to go to our office right now, you would see a table set up, 2 folding tables with Scythe set up right now. I mean, we just leave it there. Nobody messes with it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody plays with it. We lock our door and we walk out.
They know better than to mess with it.
But it's great. I love it. I love it.
You don't mess with Matt's board game.
My gosh, that's right. But you mess with the whole shift. You mess with our game. You mess with the whole shift.
And you don't want that.
No, you don't want that. No.
You don't want to make a whole shift, man. Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, and I'm glad that you do it. I'm glad that you found that it helps build, you know, friendships. I'm glad that it helps you. I'm glad to be part of the community. I'm glad you're part of the community. Hopefully, we can meet up sometime at a convention.
Sure.
So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on those as they're starting to spring back up this fall.
Yes.
So
yeah, hopefully here in a couple of years we'll have a Gen Con. I've been going I went to 5 or 6 of them, but I love it. Hopefully they have it going up here pretty strong pretty soon. You know, so and I'll be heading back there as soon as they do. And if you go, maybe I'll see you there. I guess you're from around that area originally, so maybe you'll show up. Who knows?
I was supposed to go in 2020. Whoops.
Yeah, that didn't work. Yeah. That didn't work.
Yeah. I know that they're planning. So Geekway is the big one out here in St. Louis, and they usually do it the end of May, beginning of June, but it got pushed to middle of October, I think it is.
Really? Okay.
So I bought my ticket. We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
What's that called again?
Geekway to the west.
Geekway? Okay. Write that down. It's not too far. Yeah.
What is about 5 hours?
To where you said where? St. Louis?
Yeah.
I could probably get there. Yeah, about 3.5 hours. Yeah, about 3.5.
Well,
3.5, 4.
We drive like my wife. see if I can put that pedal all the way down.
No, man, I don't. I'm pretty slow guy, man. I've had too many tickets, so I gotta watch.
I think my wife's theory was if they didn't want the car to go that fast, the pedal wouldn't go that far down.
You can't argue that logic. You know, That's true. They put it there, honey, just to get you in trouble.
That's right.
That's it.
Well, Matt, I'd like to thank you for being on my show today.
Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it.
This has been great. I'm glad that you, like I said, I'm glad that you have found the community to be so welcoming and inviting. And I hope, like I said, I hope we can run into each other sometime. And I think that we'll have to definitely play a game together.
All right, Adam. Well, hey, thank you for the invite, and thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. If you want to reach out to me, it's facebook.com/eatlunchandboardgame or email me at eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. And as always, remember, board games build bridges.
Stay in tune with all things sports around Indiana and the nation with the Crash Course Podcast. Each week, we tackle the big storylines from the world of the Colts, Pacers, and the Indiana college scene, while also keeping a pulse on the nation. We record live weekly at twitch.tv/3cmedia and can be found on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts can be heard, you can catch the Crash Course Podcast.
When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.